thrilled to be here with you today. And I don't have my usual setup because we are doing a little bit of construction. But I'm so thrilled to be here with you for this Unshakable Confidence workshop. This is such an important piece for women entrepreneurs and powerhouse women like you. I know that you are an extraordinary woman. And you are here because you know that you have great goals and ambitions, and just at some level you know that there's something inside of you that's probably stopping you from playing full out or going for it 100% of the way. I want to share with you a really beautiful quote that I've heard from Brian Tracy, and he says self-actualization and the fulfillment and self-fulfillment results when you feel like you are becoming everything you are capable of becoming. So really that feeling of being fulfilled is really connected to how confident are you that you are becoming everything that you are capable of becoming. And how do you even get there? Many of us, if you're anything like me, you're probably a woman who has achieved already so much in your life, but you know that there's so much more that you desire to achieve. So for those of you meeting me for the first time, let me just introduce myself. And today I'll take you through the process of understanding what are some of the things that are standing in your way in terms of developing that unshakable confidence, and how you can develop that unshakable confidence to really step into your power and claim what you desire in your life, in your business, or in all areas of your life. I always say to my clients, there's no either or, there's no this or that. You can have this and that, right? But I'll give you a little background around me if you're meeting me for the first time. I'm Hannah Fitz. I'm the founder of the brand atelier at hannahfitz.com and the Aphrodite Code, which is an elite clubhouse for influencers, entrepreneurs, and women in leadership who are living out their true purpose and living the cultured life. One thing that I never really identified myself as someone who didn't have self-confidence. But doing the deeper work, I can see how, unless, in life, unless you're probably a really extreme person, like really low self-esteem, it can be really challenging to see the hidden, subtle notes of that lower confidence that is really stopping you from really owning your brilliance in the world. So I'll share with you that I graduated from university with the highest honors and top of my school. Right? I was the first person in 14 years to accomplish this. So I was literally making history. I was told that it couldn't be done to get this grade, but I was determined to have it. I visualized it. I saw myself having it. I worked for it as well. I worked really hard for it. But when I got that phone call saying that I had done it, I couldn't fully celebrate it. Looking back, a part of me was really wondering if I really deserved it. I thought, maybe there are other people who are, I thought, why me? Maybe I was just lucky. And though I knew, a part of me knew I had worked for it and I deserved it, there was also a part of me that sort of was like uncomfortable with it. When I got my first job, my first job out of university, it put me in a leadership role in my early 20s. I was quite young. I graduated from university quite young, and I was managing project teams of people much more senior than me. Some of those people, some of the people I would have to give instructions to were literally like the managing directors of the company. I had to provide reports that would guide the board of directors of the company on what they needed to do next around marketing, brand, and strategy. And so, I really, coming in this young and also a female entrepreneur in a male dominated industry that was the financial industry, although I was excited about my role, I had a lot of that youthful optimism. I knew I had something to contribute. There was also part of me that was afraid to ask questions. I didn't want to look inadequate. I was living in fear of the lunchroom whispers. I was almost like avoiding the lunchroom sometimes because, I knew that there were people who thought I was too young for the role. part of me was even wondering if I was even experienced enough for it, if I was adequate enough for it. I had to teach myself the job. You know, I had a lot of pushback from older male co-workers who felt I shouldn't ask them questions. If I got the job, then I should know, even if it was something that only an experienced person in the company would know. But that only made me want to work harder and learn the job and become more competent. But that was the issue, right? Even if I became competent in the role, there was always this feeling of having to prove myself, always this feeling of having to, you know, be twice as good and to show up a certain way. And there's always that sort of, when you have that energy, there's always that lurking energy of not good enough. And it also comes from several different things. Like for me, I can identify some of those energies, not just from the circumstances, but also from my upbringing. And I'm sure many of you might be able to relate to this. So, you know, we all have that inner critic. And how does that inner critic come about? We're not automatically born with that inner critic. We learn to develop that inner critic over time. I know for sure, I grew up with this feeling that I always had to be perfect. I always had to get things right. You know, other people could make mistakes, but Hannah can't make mistakes. And if I did something, it wasn't fully celebrated. I'm talking in my family circle. It wasn't fully celebrated because people were like, well, we know you can do better. You know, we know you can do better. There was also that one-up culture that was constantly present around me. You know, like, have you ever experienced going to share your accomplishment with someone and, you know, you barely get oh, this is wonderful kind of celebration. And then they're like, oh, well, I did this too kind of thing. So before you're even celebrated, the person has shifted their focus, the focus on themselves. And that was sort of the culture that I grew up around. It's like no one really fully celebrated you. Before they could like tell you how proud they are of you, suddenly the focus was on them and not on you anymore. And it's not about narcissism and wanting the focus to always be on you, but it is nice to recognize someone without trying to one up them. And when you grow up with that sort of one up, it's like you're constantly seeking that attention, that validation, that, oh my gosh, see me, look at what I'm doing sort of thing. So it's always that constant needing to prove and not really feeling good enough, or always feeling like you don't want to outshine others, because anytime you might have any moment of spotlight, something comes to take it away from you, or others feel uncomfortable, or you think that others are going to feel uncomfortable. I saw a woman literally post on Facebook that she's single because all the men out there are intimidated by her ambition, and so she can't find a good man, so that's why she's single, and she's okay with that. And I thought that's a really sad way to live and a sad point of view, because it's not true. It's a story that she's created through her experiences, right? And we all create those stories. We all create stories about ourselves, about our lives, based on past experiences. So we have certain beliefs about our potential and about, you know, what we can achieve. And those beliefs about what we think we can achieve is literally impacting how we take action in the world and the results that we create. And then when we create those results come now as evidence of what is possible. And now we take those results and we decide, okay, this is what's achievable. And now this reinforces a belief in ourselves. Right? So again, you know, we are not born with any kind of inadequacy. We learn those things through life experiences. So we have that inner critic that constantly tells us that we have to get it perfect, or we have to get it right. Otherwise, we're not celebrated, or feeling not celebrated really, because no one's really acknowledging, you know, your brilliance. I know parents who do not celebrate their children because they don't want them to get big-headed. They say things like that, or they don't want them to get complacent. So they never celebrate them so that they can have the drive to push. But that is really damaging energy. And so many of us grow up with these sort of energies around us that we don't even realize how much it has impacted our ability to truly succeed and to truly allow ourselves to play full out. The other thing is the imposter syndrome. So some of the things that I shared, like even if you're accomplishing success, you're having a hard time even owning that success and celebrating it fully, completely, without question. Even if you might be happy about it, but a part of you feeling like, do I really deserve it? I know people working with women, what I see happen very often, and that's why, part of why I work with my clients over a longer period of time is because I can see the patterns, right? And I've seen clients, they will have a big sales month, and then they'll have a month of nothing or several months of nothing. And that's part of that inner dialogue that's happening around success, that you're literally stopping yourself from going into a consistent flow because there's all that fear, there's all that lack of confidence. Some people have that fear of, oh my gosh, this was a lucky break. Will I be lucky again? So that fear of running out of luck, that fear of, can I do it again? That fear of what it might actually look like if you create that consistent success, that you're literally unconsciously stopping yourself from fully experiencing it all the way, right? I know a lot of times for women, sometimes that fear is not of failure. A lot of us think we have a fear of failure, but the big fear for a lot of women is the fear of success. Okay. And so part of how you're going to really overcome this and really step into a more confident version of yourself is to really look at, I want you to ask yourself this question. What is the one thing you would do if there was no way to fail? If you knew you could not fail? And I had this discussion with a client who I'm just starting to work with. The client came to me and the client was like, he didn't know what to do. He doesn't know what he wants to do next. And that's one way of knowing where your confidence is impacting you. The client is in a business, they're running a very successful business, but the client knows that this business isn't his passion. It isn't what he loves to do at the core. It isn't where he truly wants to be and what really lights up his soul. And so he literally feels that he is trapped in this business. He's good at it. It's his zone of excellence. So we have our zone of excellence, and we think just because we can do this really well, this is what we have to do. So he is living in his zone of excellence, and he's not living in his zone of brilliance, which is what he really wants to do, what he really is excited about. So I'll tell you what happened to the client. When I investigated, whenever people tell me they come confused, they don't know what to do next, I know that none of us are confused. We all know what we want to do. The question is, are you going to give yourself permission to do it? So I did the inquiry with this client and realized that the client had actually done the thing that he wanted to do. So this isn't just women, men do this too, right? He realized that he had done it, and he did it twice and he failed. He had started these two businesses and it didn't work out. He ended up in debt. The business was not a success the success that he wanted. And he just let it go because he didn't want to live out that experience anymore, even knowing this is what he's truly meant to do. So he's doing this other thing that he's really great at doing. He has a high skill level in it, and he gets paid really well for it, but he feels like it's literally sucking at his soul. And he's tired and he doesn't want to do it anymore. But he's doing it because it's making money, it's paying the bills, he's good at it, so why not? The thing that he really wanted to do, he failed at it, or he felt that he was a failure. And so what I was able to show this client was that, listen, just because you climbed Mount Everest, You tried to climb Mount Everest by yourself and it didn't work, doesn't mean that Mount Everest can't be summited, right? Just because you gave something a shot and it didn't work doesn't mean that it can't work. It only means that you didn't have the right tools and information and resources or support system or whatever it is for it to work in the way that you want it to work. What breaks our confidence is not what we know, but what we don't know, or what we don't know that we don't know. Not having all the information, not having total clarity, not having a clear strategy, a clear plan, and all of those pieces does shake your confidence. So what I always do, and I encourage all of you to do it, is to really sit and say, what is the one thing that I would do if I knew I could not fail? Ask yourself that question and be honest with yourself for the very first time, because a lot of times, if you really look at how you've been creating your life, you have been creating your life from the space of what you think is certain, from the space of what is within your comfort zone, from the space of what you feel is a sure plan, from the limited perspective of what you are experiencing, and not from the expansive view of what is truly possible for you. And if you ask yourself those deeper questions, the way you get yourself to unshakable confidence, first you get clarity on what would I do if I knew there was no way to fail, and then you create a plan that ensures that you do not fail. What creates lack of confidence is uncertainty. Uncertainty, I always see uncertainty like a shaky leg. If you have one leg that is hurt or injured, it's like you have a limping leg. You can't go fast. You're going to move slowly. Even if you're moving in the direction of what you want, that limp is going to slow you down. So if you really want to move fast, you have to reinforce that limb. You have to heal it. You have to make sure that you train it and build the muscle in it and get it to a full functioning position so that you can move forward with greater conviction and greater certainty. Uncertainty is what creates a limpy leg and is what's creating that shakiness that's slowing you down and that's keeping you from truly creating the expansive life and success that you truly desire. Okay, and so it's really important that first you identify what is it that you do if you knew you could not fail, because there is a success path to everything that you desire. But you need to know what you really want to do, not what you're doing in the meantime, or what you're doing because you're good at it, or what you're doing because you think you have to do it. These are some of the stories that we grew up with. And one of the things that I'm really dedicated to is helping people really know who they are at the core. Because a lot of who we think we are is programming, right? I was supposed to be the good girl. I was supposed to be the obedient one. My dad always praised me as the obedient one, the one who, he always gave this beautiful story that was supposed to be my Medal of Honor in many ways. And the story was that, Hannah, when I was in my mother's womb, and he would tell that story to everybody. When Hannah was in her mother's womb, I kicked my mom really hard and my mom was in pain. And my dad said he tapped her womb and said, don't do this anymore. And I never did it again. And so growing up, I had this blueprint of being the obedient child, being the good girl. And when I got into my mid-20s, I realized that, I went through a complete transformation. I went through this complete awakening of myself. I cut off all of my hair. It was complete like shedding of everything. And I also stepped away from the traditions of my family, stepped away from everything I knew as my religious foundation, my spiritual life, everything. I shifted it. My family got upset. Some people had comments to make about it. But I decided I was going to reclaim myself. And that reclamation meant that I did not have to continuously obey the rules that were once defining me, but to really discover who I really was and to define what those rules are for myself. Okay. So we're living in obedience. We're trying to be the good girl, trying to be the one everyone likes. I had a client really struggle with, a customer complaining about her service. And I said, listen, it just means that you're growing, because if everybody likes you, you don't have enough customers. But we allow that to shake our confidence. We define ourselves by these experiences that if someone's not happy with your service, it means you're not good enough, because you haven't really dealt with the core issues of what is really driving you and what is establishing the foundation on which you're building your life and your career and defining yourself. The other thing is around being that high achiever. Some of us don't even know why we really want to work or have a business. I remember having a client and really getting her to a place of realizing that it's okay to just be the wife to your husband if that's what you want to do. But society told her that she needed to have a business. She had a husband that wanted to fully support her, and she wanted it, but she wouldn't let herself have that, to just be the pampered wife. Why not, if that's what you really want? But she wouldn't give herself permission to do that, because the programming is, if you're doing nothing, you're a lazy woman, you're unambitious, you're a gold digger, you're whatever it is that society labels that they're putting on women, not giving yourself permission to unapologetically show up as who you really are and what you really desire to do. So we do these other things that comply, but at a soul level, we know it's not totally in alignment with what we really, really want. We're just doing it so we look good. Okay. And so again, letting go of who you're supposed to be and really getting to the core of who you are. And we did a really amazing exercise around this inside the Aphrodite Code this month, where we looked at the inner creative blueprint. Really looking at a soul level, how do you function? I know for me, before I understood that inner creative blueprint and those archetypal natures within ourselves, I was very much the initiator, the doer, the one who was always trying to make things happen and push and initiate and lead and whatever it is, right? And because I was told, if you don't do, you're not ambitious, you're lazy. But life is a delicate balance between surrender and initiating. Knowing when to surrender and when to initiate. Some people are too much in surrender, and so they're not getting anything done. And some people are too much in initiating, that they're exhausted, pushing, doing, mistaking motion with momentum. Motion and momentum are two different things. Just because you're making motion doesn't mean you're making momentum. But because we have that proving energy, we're constantly doing, instead of being in tune with who you really are and how you function at an archetypal level, to really take action from an empowered space, from an aligned space. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the best things come to you when you didn't go looking for it, it just came? Why does that happen? It wasn't that you weren't doing anything. It was because you were in alignment. It came. And often you're over there doing. And I always say to my clients, and they laugh when I share this, but I share that you're over there like taking the staircase to the 100th floor, and God is saying the elevator is over here. But you're so busy climbing that step that you can't see the elevator that's right next to you. And so what you have to do to develop that unshakable confidence is to really step into one. A lot of times we set goals for ourselves that will only prove the belief that we have now. And we'll say, I'll just do it. Like, I know I have to send emails, so I'll send an email, and then you don't get the response, and you're like, you see, I didn't get the response. So it reinforces the belief that your emails aren't working, right? So not doing, but setting, first of all, setting that vision from that space that I talked about, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? I am sure your answer would be radically different. A lot of times we don't take the chances that come before us. We don't hop onto the opportunities. We don't take the massive action. And I'll talk about action very lightly, because I think a lot of times we ask for things, the universe presents it to us, and then we tiptoe into it instead of moving full on into it. And the reason why we don't move on full on into it is because we don't trust the plan. We don't have enough information. It's unfamiliar territory. We don't know how to navigate it. That's why I say you need to decide, what would you do if you knew you could not fail, and then create a fail-proof plan. So for me, throughout my life and very early, I knew that I have a lot of skills. I have a lot of competence, but I knew what I needed to reinforce was more building up the confidence. So very early, I got coaches to support me, not so much that I needed the support with strategy and those pieces, even if it's helpful to be able to have someone to work through ideas around, but to just know that I have someone that I've worked through my idea with, we've looked at it and I know it's solid. And now I know I'm full on, like it's foolproof. I feel it, gut feel, everything feels aligned. I can take action from an empowered space, as opposed to sitting over here guessing and wondering if this next move is going to do it, taking action in that guessing and wondering energy and not getting the result. The other thing that I want you to know that creates shaky confidence is fear of the unknown. Most of us are trying to create in a space of, and that's where faith and trust will support you, because a lot of us are trying to create based on external certainty. So you know you don't love the job that you're in, but you're like, well, I need to wait for someone to offer me something else, or I need to do whatever it is. Like, you're not taking chances, you're not taking those leaps of faith and proactively going out there, putting yourself out there to get that next client, or so thrilled to be here with you today. And I don't right now, but how can we expand that belief and see what else is possible? And she realized, you know what, she actually had that fear of having more money and what it meant, because she didn't understand the meaning behind having more money. Of course, we don't just want to have a lot of money just to have a lot of money. Money needs meaning, right? And so what do your goals mean to you? It's not just about having a goal, it's about the meaning. But be careful how you're setting goals, because if you're setting goals in terms of the belief system that you have about yourself right now and what you know is possible for you right now, it's a limiting factor. What you need is to expand that. So I remember one time I had a coach who said, Hannah, what if you made what you made an entire year in 1 month? And I thought, okay. And then I did it. So literally collapsing what I thought was possible in a year, I did it in a month just because I shifted that belief. But it's you now putting yourself in a position to be ready for that. You know, when you accomplish your goals, no matter how small they are, celebrating them instead of looking at Jane and saying, but oh, Jane over there is doing so much better, or this person has a bigger house, or that person is making more money every month, and constantly downplaying your own success instead of really basking in it. Now, some people bask in it too long. Life is not meant for you to accomplish this and then stay there and bask in it. It's like you celebrate it and then you're like, how do I expand this container now? How do I normalize this? How do I make this win my new normal and consistently win this every time? And then how do I now take it to the next level? Okay. And again, what will give you that higher confidence is really that clarity of your vision. So this is really important, having that clarity of vision, and then really understanding now, how do I create a fail-proof plan? How do I keep myself in an environment that will allow me to stay in that consistency, that will support me in really achieving my goals and staying confident? You know, I say we can't see sometimes the tree through the forest. If all the forest has is tree, you won't see that. What you might not see that tree that's actually blocking you if there are many trees in front of you. And it's the same with our belief systems. Because we've lived with those beliefs all of our lives, because we have created much of our life, much of our life in those beliefs, we are not able to see past them because it's normal. It becomes our value system. It becomes who we are. It shapes and defines us. And so we don't know that we don't know what we don't know, right? And that's the truth of life. We don't know what we don't know. It's only through exposure. It's only through broadening. Like, I remember when I grew up thinking everybody knew the Bible. I thought everybody had a Bible and everybody read the Bible. I really believed that. Like, the first time I met someone who had never heard about God or Jesus, I was shocked. I mean, it kind of rocked the foundation of what I knew, because in the culture that I came from, it wasn't like a highly diverse culture when it came to religion. You know, you were either Roman Catholic or you were Pentecostal or Seventh-day Adventist or something like that, but you were part of organized religion where I was from. And so luckily, like growing up, I had cousins in the US. And then when I started traveling to the US to my cousins, and they weren't religious people, like that shocked me. That rocked me. Like, I'm like, if they're not religious, like, first I was scared for them, because the first thing that comes up when our foundation is fear, then we might be fearful for someone else when it's really our foundation that's being rocked, and we having to really look at the whole system. So what you believe to be true. And it's only through exposure that you can begin to shift those beliefs or shift the awareness around it. And that's why, having, the more you educate yourself, the more self-knowledge you have, the more you surround yourself with people who are different from you, who are outside of your culture, the more you're going to expand your belief systems and how you see yourself in the world. And this is really critical. So this is what, we definitely want to do. You want to look at diversifying your environment. Okay, that's one piece. Creating a clear vision for yourself. That's another piece. And then creating the vision of what you want, and then saying to yourself, what will ensure that I don't fail in this plan? Whenever I set a big goal for myself, that doesn't have to be everybody, but the first thing I do is then I find the coach that's going to help me achieve that goal. That's how I operate. I constantly invest in it, because yes, I could go on my own, But I know that on my own, I'll have a lot of questions. And because this is something that I haven't accomplished before, I need to surround myself in an environment that will allow me to step into this new, bigger container that I'm going to. So, and even in my own company right now, we are growing our team. And I knew to grow the team, I needed to have certain operational systems and processes in place. So I had to hire the expert in that field to help put those systems in place. I cannot confidently go and do it, and neither do I want to have the confidence in that regard. What I want to work on building my confidence around is what I'm really good at, and focus on doing more of what I'm good at, and become masterful of it and do more of it, so that as you do it, as you immerse yourself in what you're good at, what you love to do, what you're passionate about, your confidence grows, right? But if you keep trying to do all of these other things that are outside of your zone of brilliance, and even outside of your zone of excellence, that lowers your confidence, because you're doing things that you're sure to fail at. You're not meant to be great at everything. And that's a fact of life. And the moment you release the need to be great at everything and to figure it all out by yourself, that's the first step to freedom and really claiming your confidence. Because highly confident people in the world, highly confident people know that the only way they're going to achieve their goal is to have the right people and systems around them. So whatever that means for your company, whether it means hiring a VA so you don't have to check email, you don't have to do all the emails by yourself, or whatever it is, surround yourself with other competent people. And then together you work towards achieving a common goal. I love the story that says, God created Adam, and God gave Adam the mandate of procreating and taking care of the earth, and also procreating and, be fruitful and multiply, right? That was the mandate. But could Adam be fruitful and multiply by himself? No. He could have had all the confidence in the world, all the skills, and he could not be fruitful and multiply by himself. So God gave Adam Eve. And in life, we are always having to find our Eve, whether it is Eve or Steve. And it doesn't have to be, I'm not just talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about anything you want to accomplish in life. You will need to find your Eve or Steve, because you cannot do it alone. And that is the part of releasing yourself. You are not an incompetent woman when you try to find help or reach out to have someone support you to do something. You're not incompetent if you can't figure it all out by yourself. That is what's breaking your confidence, because sometimes you're expending energy in things that do not require your energy. There are some things in life that will require you to take action. There are some things in life that will require you to find others to help you take action to do it. And there are some things in life you have to hand it over to the universe. That is what it means to lead and live like a goddess. Many of us are trying to be rulers. We're trying to dictate everything and do everything and have dominion over everything. A true goddess is leading. She has a high level view of everything, and she is organizing and directing things and orchestrating to ensure that the goal is accomplished. That is what confidence looks like. Lack of confidence looks like overwhelm, overdoing, trying to overexpand yourself, trying to be the Jack of everything or the Jane of everything, trying to initiate everything, and not knowing when surrender is required and when initiation is required. And this is the balance that we are not often taught, because we are taught to do. We go through a school system that rewards us for, if we do our homework, then you get a certain grade. But if you don't do it, all of those things, we come from a system that teaches us all to do. And sometimes we're not even stopping to think about why you're even doing this. Right? And so this is really critical to distinguish. And so this is why one of the things that I am very committed to is inviting you to discover, who you really are at a soul level, understanding those archetypal natures that drive you, getting connected with where you're truly meant to place your energy in life, how you're meant to show up through your personal brand first. I always say, the woman behind the brand is important. Yet so often we give so much to our business and we don't give anything to ourselves. And so giving to the woman behind the brand, developing your inner brand of magic, deeply connecting with that, so that from a space of internal power, you know who you are without the job title, without the expectations of society, without the definitions of, if I become a millionaire or if I accomplish this level of success in my business, this is who I am kind of energy. Without constantly trying to prove yourself, who are the essential you, rediscovering that. And we do it. Last month, we did it through the creative soul archetypes. This month, in the month of June, we are going to be doing it by exploring what is not only your Jungian archetypes, but also your goddess archetypes, because there is a goddess in every woman. And we are exploring that within the Aphrodite code this month. We are also looking at, when I say that exposure, one of the things that I know that has also shaped my life is that I've been traveling from the time I was 5 weeks old. I've traveled to over 185 cities globally. And being exposed to multiple cultures, I've lived in 4 different countries, that has also broadened my perspective and helped me see the world in very different ways. So I talk about the cultured life because the cultured life is really essential. When you diversify your knowledge and you explore the different sides of yourself, it really is key. Like in the Aphrodite code this month, we looked at exploring like a creative gift. And this is really key. One of the things that I discovered about myself, my love for fashion, I'm not wearing it today. I'll show you a picture of it. I designed a top this month as part of the activities that we're doing, just exploring and awakening certain parts of yourself. So next month we're doing in June, we also have something called the High Society Festival. And I've invited to broaden the exposure and to really prepare women who are ready to lead at a high level. Whether you're looking to lead as a luxury brand or lead, marry the man of your life and lead in high society, we call it the High Society Festival. I think no matter how you get there, I am all for you understanding the rules of engagement at those levels. Because many times we are aspiring to work with very high-end clients or maybe live a certain type of lifestyle, but we don't understand how to present ourselves for that lifestyle that we desire. So I've invited a group of experts to come in and to share with you various insights. And we do those festivals apart from the monthly workshops. We do the festivals every 2 months. So this month of June, we're doing the High Society Festival. And I've invited Sybil Henry, who I've worked with many times on various high-level brand photo shoots. We just did a photo shoot in Malibu for a client. The location alone, just to share with you how high profile this photo shoot was, just the house we used for the photo shoot cost $14,000. That's the level. The client is inviting herself to step into that high level. She had her stylist, she had me as the brand strategist, also art directing and guiding her on how to show up on the photo shoot. She had a celebrity photographer and all of those pieces. And she's going for big things in the world and she's showing up at that level. Many people might say like, whoa, spending that much money on a photo shoot. But when you're at that level of certainty about your ability to create success, about your ability, you're confident about your ability to create wealth, that kind of money, it might as well be $140. So I've invited the stylist that I work with to come and share with you a presentation on how to style yourself rich. We've invited a powerhouse etiquette expert to share with you the rules of engagement. I can't tell you how many times I go to restaurants and I get really upset when I see the way people sit at the table because they don't know how to sit, like they're leaning all the way back into the chair sort of things, using the knife and fork, like those, you know, basic things. If you're an entrepreneur, you're having meeting with your clients, you want to show up in your best light, right? We have like body language experts, so really looking at powerhouse body language powerhouse body language and how you're showing up. I've invited a feng shui expert because a lot of us are trying to leverage the law of attraction and visualization, but what about the space that you're in? How is that space supporting your energy? So we have a feng shui specialist from Norway who will be coming in to share with you how to create a luxurious home, even if, and ladies, luxury does not mean you have to spend a ton of money on things. It's about understanding how to place things strategically. Even sometimes the colors that we're using. Last month in Aphrodite Code, we talked about the colors that are your highest power energy and how to surround yourself with those colors. So really looking at those pieces around creating a divine home and office. And then I've also invited an Italian expert on energetic DNA activation. So the energy that you're bringing into any room that you're walking into is also critical. And you can see that I've invited a multicultural panel here. We have people from the US, we have people from Europe coming in to speak for the High Society Festival. And that's to equip you to step into that next level version of yourself, not only from a mindset perspective, but how you're physically showing up, from the way you're showing up in terms of how you're styling yourself to the way that you're showing up, understanding etiquette, right? Because, you know, one thing that I've had to do a lot in my career as a consultant and as a coach is travel with my clients, right? So I've traveled all over the world with clients, you know, from knowing, you know, from the hotels that you pick to how you're entering the car that you, the chauffeured car that you just hired to pick you up, from the restaurants that you're selecting. All of these are messages. I will also be doing a workshop on high-level business etiquette as well for those of you who are interested in understanding how to entertain clients, because this is going to be really an important part of your life if you're a woman who is looking for that fuller, bigger life. You know, one thing also too, you know, you might have a partner. For instance, even with my partner, we're constantly hosting dinner parties at home. How do you host those dinner parties to entertain high-profile clients, whether it's your clients or your partner's clients? You know, I don't know the life that you're living, but whatever the life that you're stepping into, you're going to be prepared for it. And that is what the Aphrodite Code is all about. And so I do want to invite you, if you want to go much deeper with me, I'm hosting workshops, exclusive workshops for the Aphrodite Code every single month. We have the festivals of Aphrodite. So this month of June, we're going to be focused on High Society Festival, featuring the experts that I mentioned. We have food and wine festivals. We have brand new festivals. We have communication festivals, festivals on developing your influence so that you can become an irresistible woman, skills of persuasion. We have the Persuasion Festival. But most of all, it's all about you creating a fully holistically integrated personal brand so that you can show up more powerfully in the world with that unshakable confidence as a high value woman who is living and leading like a goddess. So I want to invite you. I'm very, very excited about this. And I hope that you will join us. We have a special opportunity for you to pay $10 down today. So Tiana is going to be sharing the link in the chat. You pay $10 down today, and then we have the monthly membership, which the membership works out to about $97 a month, but you pay over 6 months and you get access to all of this exclusive content. Those of you joining now will be able to follow up on the workshop that we did last month. There's a workbook in there that will take you through a personal assessment to uncover your inner creative soul archetype. There are 3 layers to what we're calling the Aphrodite blueprint. So the inner creative soul archetype is one of them. Your irresistible archetype is another one of them, but we're integrating the goddess archetypes because there's so much about Greek mythology, you know, that really holds clues to how we see ourselves and show up as women. And through the lens of the goddesses, a lot of research has been done on this by psychiatrists and psychologists that really show that when women understand their archetypes, their goddess archetypes. And we don't normally, with the goddess archetypes, you don't stay through one. It's understanding the ones that are active through you, or maybe the ones that you want to activate so that you can confidently step into that next level. But having that awareness is really going to amplify and really magnify how you show up as the extraordinary and exceptional woman that you are in the world. So I hope that you will join us. It's $10 down. Sign up today, and we will go even deeper. We're hosting our next workshop for exclusive Aphrodite Code workshop on the 14th of June. And then we have the High Society Festival where these experts are going to come in. We also have best-selling author Christy Whitman, who wrote the book, The Art of Having It All and the Desire Factor. She'll be coming in to share with you some amazing insights on how to raise your energy to become the woman who has it all. I know that her book changed my life. You are also welcome to get her book, but I think you will benefit a lot from being on the live interview with her and to be able to ask questions as well. So I see the link is in here. Sign up today, $10 down. If you have a friend and you want to join together, you're actually going to get 15% off joining with the Soul Sister package. So you pay $20 down and you get 15% off the price of Aphrodite. But also if you join solo, it's only $10 down, so you can do that right away. I can't wait to see you inside of the Aphrodite Code. I'm going to open up for any questions that you might have around the discussion, any ahas you want to share just before we wrap up, some final thoughts, and then we will call it a day, ladies. So anybody wants to share anything?
Hey, Hannah, it's LaDawn. Good day to you.
Hello, beautiful LaDawn. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Hannah, so many nuggets. Like, I know I've known you for a few years, we've talked, but I couldn't write fast enough. And what you were saying is so true as it relates to the brand. Thank you so much for doing this trading today. I'm so happy I still get your emails. I'm like, oh, I can join today. This is awesome. Question for you on the different events. Are those all virtual that you're doing? Or are you doing, okay, so they're virtual.
So they're virtual events, but ladies. So, you know, it wouldn't be Hannah if it didn't encompass there's something. So I didn't say anything on it yet because I know that my team is busy putting stuff together before we fully put it out there. But we're planning for May 2022. We're going to have a goddess journey. It's going to happen in Crete, Greece. And it's going to be for Aphrodite Code members. And it's going to be an amazing 3-day event in person. So we're going to be planning those annual events every year for Aphrodite. And you're going to have the members of Aphrodite Code, like my team and I were like, we just want, like, we've been working out, and what we're working out is the cost of the event, because we want it to be amazingly accessible for Aphrodite Code members. Everybody else who wants to join us, they will pay more. But for Aphrodite ladies, we want everything within the group. What we're also starting to build up is, you know, what we call our members exclusive gifting area. And what we want is to really be able to give you, through other partners, exclusive pricing and opportunities for things that we're offering. So there's going to be amazing other benefits that you're getting from the Aphrodite Code being a member. And, you know, it's just the beginning of what we're starting to offer for this group. But most of all, this is going to be an experience of feminine leadership. I call it a school, sorry about this. I call it a school of love for women. And really about, you know, I've declined the call like 10 times. So But it's really a school of love for women, to really reconnect with yourself and to give to yourself. We give so much to everybody, to our clients. And I want this to be a nurturing experience. I want it to be a community where we can feel safe to communicate with each other, to support each other, to build relationships and connections. One of the things that we're doing, we have our magazine that we started doing 2 years ago. But what we're doing is every year now, we're going to also be highlighting our goddesses in the magazine, because I want to also, my vision for this is to also create opportunities for women. My vision is that this is going to be a platform where everybody gets to also promote themselves. So we're going to be featuring our goddesses in our magazine. You're going to get to promote your business in there. And I'm all about it being a place where we can all grow, we can all connect and expand to create what I call the cultured life. You know, I always say all work and no play makes Aphrodite a dull goddess. What I do know, people think expansion comes only when you do the business stuff. I remember, 2 years ago, every year I do something that I've never done. And so 2 years ago, I went to Paris and I did a cooking class at the Ritz, right? And I have my little certificate from the Ritz Escoffier to prove that I have a certificate in making macarons. So I did a cooking class. Last year for my birthday, I went to the island of Mustique and I did a horse riding class because I always wanted to do a horse riding class. And guess what? Every time I do those experiences, they expand something in me that contributes to my business. So growth and expansion, that's why the festivals, I was intentional. Food and Wine Festival, let's expand the senses. Let's expand your worldview around the things that you're exposed to and get to know other worlds that you're not a part of, so that when you're having conversations with people, you can come from a space of knowledge. You just ordered the wine. You're not just looking at the menu and seeing which one is the most expensive one or which one is the same. You know what you're ordering. Right. And so these things empower you to show up even more confidently in all spaces. My dad always had this belief that you should be able to walk with kings and walk with paupers as well. And he always instilled that in us, that, you have to have that persona that can feel comfortable in any environment. My dad was a man, he was not a wealthy man, but the prime minister of our country was one of his close friends and confidants. And so this is the kind of expansion you want for yourself, that you are the type of person who can network with anybody and you feel comfortable in any room.
I'll talk with you soon. Thank you so
much.
much.
Yes, Ladon, thank you. And it's such a pleasure. I can't wait to see you in Aphrodite.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Angela.
Yes, I'm so happy that I joined the session today. I signed up earlier today and I'm saying to myself, because I'm in London,
yes,
I was calculating the time. I'm like, okay, what time is this going to be? Am I going to be off work? And then suddenly I missed it, but I'm glad that I was still able to get the majority of what you were saying, and quite a few things you said resonated with me. We have similar background because I grew up in the same country.
Oh, beautiful. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I very much understand what you're talking about. And it's so true in that your association, when you're talking about what you've achieved, somebody's always come up with, oh, I've done this too.
Yeah, the one up. I call it the one up culture.
Yes. And even for myself, I try, like, it's something I've just become so conscious of when someone is sharing what they've done, to not share it unless they ask for help, or they ask for, like, okay, what was your experience? So that's something for us to take away. And the other thing you spoke about is, doing a job you're good at, but it's not necessarily what your passion is.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I contacted you to say it's really good that I'm on this session again. I've been thinking about doing something for myself, and just listening to you in that you just have to go forward despite the fear, and then associate with the people who can help. And my aha moment was when you said, I don't need to control everything, which is my thing. I like to control everything.
You're an alpha woman. You're an alpha woman.
Yes, so I just need to understand what my role is at this time, and then look for the other persons who can get it done in that sense. So it really stood out for me. And so I'm interested in learning a little more about Aphrodite Code and just building up on that, preparing for the success that I want for myself.
Yes,
You
definitely.
know,
Definitely. You will be in very good company in Aphrodite Code. We have incredible women. And what I love about it is that all the women, they have the same kind of point of view in life. They all have a global view. So they want that global lifestyle, or they're living that global lifestyle. Or they see things from a global perspective. So they have that international perspective. We also have women who are very much into personal growth and personal development, and who also understand the journey. So you won't
yes.
get any of that competitiveness or any of that sort of thing in there. It really is, I think we have a really high vibration of women, and really women who have accomplished a lot in their life, but they're also just tired of being the one who is initiating.
Okay, good.
Beautiful. Wonderful. So the link for Aphrodite is in here. You can go to the page, and I do invite you to sign up. And I'd love to see all of you at our festival this month and at our exclusive workshop, where I will also be releasing the archetypal assessment, so that you can explore these goddess archetypes and also the Jungian archetypes, and how this plays a role in how you're making decisions in your life and how you're showing up. Some of us don't even know why we prefer certain things or why we have a certain preference. And many clients tell me that this is such an empowering part of their life. One of my clients was able to radically increase her income is because she realized all her life she was being one archetype. She was being a caregiver archetype, when she didn't realize she was this other archetype. And because she had misidentified herself, she was showing up completely different from how she was truly meant to show up in the world. And that completely shifted her income and her business life. So this work is really powerful. And I say an investment in yourself is the best investment you can give to your business and you can give to the world. Because when you show up fully in your power, you are unstoppable. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Grab the link and we will call it a day. Thank you so much, ladies. And as always, live the cultured life.
I joined Aphrodite Code, I would say that I really have experienced some good vibrations coming into my life, and it's been amazingly, and I don't want to miss a single workshop. That's how